I have had to deal with these people for a very long time. Speaking of covert narcissists, I'm nearly 70 years old, and over the decades, I've learned a thing or two about a lot of things in life. I just want to share with you some of the things that I've learned specifically about covert narcissist, and the answer to our question is yes. Covert narcissist, the question is, covert narcissist or covert narcissist paranoid? And the answer is that seems to be just a part of being a covert narcissist, because they're always looking over their back, expecting at any moment to be attacked. Why would they do that? Well, because they're constantly being attacked by people that they've screwed over in the past. So let's take a look. We have 11 points. We're going to go over these very quickly, so you have to listen fast. But here are 11 points that affirm, in my mind and my way of thinking, based upon my life's laboratory, that, these people are very paranoid. And by the way, that is one of their weaknesses. That is something that you, the victim of a covert narcissist, can use to your advantage, defending yourself against these people. Number one is they have top-to-bottom relationships. That is to say, they don't think in terms of being a partner or side-by-side relationships. Someone is going to be in control, and someone is going to be controlled. Someone is going to be the dominant partner, not really a partnership at all, but someone is going to be the dominant of the two, and someone is going to be dominated. And if he can't dominate you, if a covert narcissist cannot dominate you, once you realize the narcissist is taking advantage of you, then he or she typically will seek to destroy you. So it's dominate or destroy. It is rule or ruin. And you don't know that going in. All you know is the narcissist comes across during the love bombing stage, the grooming stage, as being a good friend, or maybe really having a romantic interest in you, and you buy it, obviously, because you were entangled with a narcissist. And I bought it many times, because it's really hard to tell. I've done videos on clues, red flags, and sometimes I call them green flags, because they don't stand out. They just kind of blend in with the environment, so we call them green flags. But those flags are there, and we can tell if we're paying very close attention, which most of the time we don't do. Number one is this: top or bottom relationships. They don't understand, and this is particularly a problem with a marriage, but they don't understand the give and take. That, it's not just 50-50, but it's 100%, 100%. The way that I like to say it, and I've said it in the past, the way to a happy marriage is to, number one, don't marry a jerk, and number two is don't be a jerk. I've said that many times, and that's the way it works. Well, the narcissist understands one thing, and that is he wants to be a jerk, or she wants to be the jerk. They want to be the, I'm trying not to say jackass, but that's pretty much what it is. Number two is not only must they be in control, or not only must they be on top, but they also have to be in control. So it's not just the superior position, but they have to dominate, they have to control everything. Now, one of the things that we have learned from nature is that when you have social environments, there is somebody who will emerge as the alpha. Typically, it's the alpha male, sometimes alpha female. And people will say, I want to be the alpha. I want to be the one in control, not realizing that in primates, one of the responsibilities of the alpha, well, in primates, it's almost always an alpha male. But one of the responsibilities of the alpha male is not just to control, but to take care of, to make sure that others have what they need as far as food and protection, and to make sure that they are not victims from outside forces, predators. So a narcissist sees one part of that. He wants to be the alpha, but he doesn't want the responsibility of taking care of people. He or she wants to take care of themselves, and they don't care about the others. Number three is this: we know that they are paranoid because they are envious. Now, my conclusion, again, based on life experience, is one of the reasons that narcissists attack people like you and try to take advantage of you is because they are envious of you, because they know that you have your life together, and they want to be like you, and by controlling you somehow in their twisted way of thinking, they obtain that which you have. By controlling you, they have you. They have your your positive attributes. So, we like to say that there are people, well, a lot of, let me frame it this way. There are a lot of narcissists who can't hold down a job because they don't want to be under the control of a supervisor. So they spend their entire life scamming people like you. It's how they make their income. But they are actually envious of the fact that you have a family life, assuming that you do, or that you have a decent income, or that you have a nice car, or that you have your act together. They are envious of that, and they can't do it themselves, so they want to control those who do. Well, they can't control everybody, so they seek out individuals who are gullible, people who are maybe not on top of their game, maybe a little bit vulnerable, and they take advantage of us. And sad to say, I'm one of those people. I just fall for just about anything. Used car salesman, yeah, I think he's really my friend. This guy really likes me. I know better cognitively, but I fall for it every time. Number 3 is we know they're paranoid because they are envious. They want what we have. Number 4 is they need an opponent. There's something about human nature, and I'm not sure this just applies to narcissists, but there is something about human nature where we like to compete. I guess it's part of who we are, part of our genetic makeup. But the narcissist seems to take this to an excessive length. They got to have somebody fighting all the time. And not only do they need to be fighting all the time, they need to be winning all the time. They can't just, have a fight, win, and say, okay, I have my self-esteem intact, now I can move on. Because that need for self-esteem is never satisfied. So they got to get that somewhere. They need to get that fix to boost their ego, to inflate their ego. And that is called supply. You hear that word used often when we talk about covert narcissists. So he needs that supply constantly. He needs that from you. So he always has to have this opponent. But you're thinking, now, wait a minute. When the narcissist first came in my life, he was not an opponent. Or at least he didn't present himself that way. Or she didn't come across as being an opponent. She came across as being a good friend, or maybe had a romantic interest. But the fact of the matter is, they knew that you were their opponent. And one of the ways of controlling you was to deceive you at the very beginning, lure you into their trap. So it's kind of like leaving out cheese for a mouse in a mousetrap. So the mouse may think, and I don't think mice actually think this, but we're using this as an example. The mouse will think, my, what a wonderful, nice human being. They left out cheese for me to eat, so I'll have something for dinner. That's the way it may seem to a mouse. But what you were thinking when you set out the mousetrap is, I'm going to lure this mouse in and trap him. That's what the narcissist is thinking about you. They're going to lure you in. They don't use cheese unless you really like cheese, but they don't use cheese. What they use is charisma. They use their affability. They use their friendliness. They lure you in, and you think, I finally found my cheese. And it's a trap. So the point is they needed an opponent, and you were their opponent at the very beginning. You just didn't realize it because they were masking. They were covering it up. Number 5, we know that they are paranoid because they are threatened by your friends. One of the things that narcissists fear, among other things, is they fear the possibility that you will talk to your friends about them once their mask begins to slip. And then their reputation will be at risk, making it more and more difficult for them to scam other people. So they are threatened by your friends. How do they handle this threat? Again, they're paranoid. How do they handle this threat? Well, that's where the smear campaign comes in, and they go to your friends and they twist the story, invert it backwards. You're the bad guy. They're the good guy. That they are your victim, and they are presenting themselves not only as being the victim, but they are the hero who is destroying you, who is fighting you, and they try to recruit your friends on their side. And again, that takes us back to number 1. They have this top-to-bottom relationship, so it's not side by side. A true friend would never do that to you. Somebody who really cared about you isn't going to go to your friends and try to convince them that you're a bad guy. Rather, if they go to your friends at all, they will go to your friends and say you're a good guy. And they are so grateful to have you as one of their friends. So number 6 then is they never admit to making mistakes, or I should say very seldom. The only time I have ever heard or seen a narcissist admit that he was wrong is when it was in his advantage to do so. Usually it's not. So it doesn't matter what the narcissist does. He never makes a wrong turn. He was just exploring or something. He never makes a bad decision at the workplace. He will have some cover story, and they're really good at coming up with explanations. One of their favorite explanations is to blame you. So they make a wrong turn, and they say, what is wrong with your GPS? Well, maybe your GPS does have a flaw, but usually that's not the problem. Number 7, you know they're paranoid because, well, just take a look at yourself. You're finding yourself when you're around your narcissist to always be walking on eggshells. That is, you're very careful not to disturb this individual. You want to keep that level, even tone where they don't flip off in a rage, become angry, or become, sometimes they will express as depressed, but usually it's rage. So they're trying to get you back because you cracked one of their eggshells, because you weren't behaving the way they think you should behave. Remember, top, bottom. So, if you have to walk on eggshells around somebody, chances are that's a narcissist who wants to control you. And the fact that you have to walk on eggshells, I have no idea where that analogy originated. I'll have to look that up sometime. But it just indicates how paranoid they are. Then you become paranoid because you're afraid that you're going to disturb these people. Actually, they need to be disturbed, in my opinion. Number 8 is they keep score of offenses and slights. I like to say the slightest of slights, the smallest little thing that irritates your narcissist will blow up in his mind. Someone did some research on this, did some brain scans one time, and they would examine the minds of narcissists, actually were psychopaths, but assuming they were narcissists, and they would notice that when the psychopath was offended, that parts of his brain would light up, so to speak. That showed it was kind of like he was experiencing pain. But when he saw another person, an image of another person experiencing pain, those parts of his brain didn't light up. So he's lacking that empathy. He doesn't have empathy for others. But what empathy he's missing, lacking for others, he compensates for empathy, well, for himself. So that is part of what makes a narcissist a narcissist. They care supremely, and I do mean supremely, about themselves. So they keep score of these offenses. They keep score of these slights, and they want to even the score. They want to level the score. And you may not have actually done anything to hurt the narcissist. It may have been inconsequential, non-intentional, or flat out non-existent, only exist in their mind, but still, they're going to come after you for retribution. And you don't know what they're doing. You have no idea what they're doing. And that, again, takes us back to eggshells, because you never know what is going to offend the narcissist. So number 9 is they have a closed-door personal life, and that is for very good reason. Now, when we say closed-door personal life, what I mean is they don't want others to know a lot about who they are. Some narcissists that I know want you to know nothing about who they are, about their past, about their background, very little about their family. And by the way, that's not a bad thing. You got to be careful who you tell about your personal life, because, people will use that against you, particularly narcissists. And narcissists understand that, because that's what they do. They take your personal information, that, your flaws, real or imagined, and ultimately they will use them against you, so they're assuming you're going to do the same thing. And some people do. So they're very quiet. They're very closed-lipped about their personal life. Well, some of the narcissists that I've run into, that I have encountered, unfortunately, have had criminal histories. I didn't know it. Not until I saw the court records, not until I saw public records, was I even aware of it. They never mentioned it. Nobody knew about it. Some of these actions were in the newspaper, but Who reads the newspaper? Some of them were decades old. I mean, who would remember that? Well, they rely on you not knowing their past. So they keep a closed door on their personal life. That is because they're paranoid. They're afraid you're going to find out. Number 10 is they're very sensitive to rejection. And I might add, they're very sensitive to disagreement. This goes back to slightest slights or something akin to it, not quite the same thing. But if you reject the narcissist, maybe reject him in the sense, or her in the sense that you reject their idea, or you reject the flaw that they are highly intelligent and they know more than you and, quite frankly, everyone else. You better not reject that. You better not turn that down. You better not disagree with them on anything, or you're going to face retribution. And I say you better not. I'm saying that kind of elusively. What I really mean is, actually, you need to recognize those things. And personally, I see no problem with confronting the narcissist with those things, because I want the narcissist to see me as a very poor catch. I want the narcissist to see me as not a source of supply, but I want him to see me as a source of supply depletion. If you hang out with Ken, Ken is not going to build your ego. Ken is going to deflate your ego. Let's stay away from Ken. That's the way I want the narcissist to see me. Okay, number 11. They present as being attacked. We talked about this briefly a moment ago, but they see themselves as the victim. They see you as the victimizer. You are the villain. They see themselves as, or they present, I should say, themselves as the hero who is fighting you because you are victimizing them. The exact opposite of what truth is. And they hate truth. They really hate it. But they will present themselves as being constantly attacked by you and by others. Many of them love conspiracy theories. And somehow they are in the middle of it. They are being attacked by whatever conspiracy theory they are they're acclimated to accept. So that proves that they are paranoid because, or to me it indicates they are paranoid because, they're constantly being attacked and they see these attackers all around them. It's kind of like they're constantly surrounded by space aliens, evil space aliens out to get them. Or maybe they're surrounded, they think, by demons. Well, maybe they are. They probably are attached to them. But that's the way they see themselves. And they want others to see themselves as well so that we will feel sorry for them. So we will boost their egos, that we will inflate their egos. All right, we have 2 rectangles on the screen. If you want our conversation to continue, all you need to do is click one of those 2 rectangles, and we'll keep hanging out together. If not, thanks for stopping by, and see you next time.